Hey guys, this is Chad Joyce with Plum Real Estate. Thank you for visiting my North Dallas Living channel. It is another edition of Foreclosure Friday, and today we are in Lancaster, Texas. We are visiting a home at 1846 Sierra Trail. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, a little bit over 2,400 square feet, and it is listed for $254,400. So pretty affordable price. The pictures look pretty decent. So let's go on in, let's have a look at it, and let's see what we find. All right, here we go. Before we get going too far, I'm actually going to lock the door. We've got a couple of nosy neighbors out there watching us. So here we go. I'm just checking the lights right now. Looks like we don't have any power either. So got our trusty flashlight out. We walk on in. Here's the front of the house. Got a little foyer with some tile and some carpet here. Carpet's not too bad. You got a couple, like there's a stain there. You got some other stains here. Let's see if there we go. They did their best to clean it, but, standard use carpet. You got a formal dining area, formal living area right when you walk in. Walk on through, we're gonna look to the right here. There's our fireplace. Looks like a wood-burning fireplace. I don't see any connections for gas. Again, we got some big stains here, and it looks like, we can get this over here. Looks like we really got it over here by the back door. We got some torn blinds. Mostly cosmetic stuff here right now. See if I can get this flashlight to get a little brighter. There we go. There's my brightness. Okay. This looks like an old Centex type floor plan. They usually have the flat ceilings like this. They're very boxy. And you can see how this one really kind of is boxy. You just got, the room separated by little walls. They're not, I don't know what the right word is for it, but they're not very artistic, I guess. It's functional. So here's our kitchen, Formica countertops, stainless steel sink. Looks like the windows are in good shape. The paint colors are atrocious. We have, let's see, back over there is brown. To the right here is orange. To the left is yellow. Behind it is green. And down this hallway is blue. So I guess they got every color. It's very, very vibrant open house. And here's another green color in here. So home's gonna have to be repainted. This is a half bathroom. And yeah, just like every other foreclosure, it is winterized, which means the water is off, and they pump the water out of the pipe so we don't have any damages while the house is vacant. Washer dryer connector. Again, not too bad. You got a little, I don't know if you guys can see that, a couple of marks on the door. They definitely had pets. That's what this is, and they kept them in here, and they ate the sheetrock. So, got that issue. And I think even on the front door, yeah, look at this on the front door. I think I saw this when it was turning around, but the front door's all busted. I don't know, what happened there. So that would have to be replaced. Let's look up real quick. There's something stuck in the light there. Not sure what that is. There's our upstairs. Let's go on up there, see what we find. Again, just make sure we don't have any lights. No power. Okay, here we go. Well, I'm going to start over here. I think all the bedrooms must be upstairs because I didn't see any downstairs. Here's a secondary bedroom. Got a little walk-in closet here. Blinds are damaged. They're broken and bent. Same thing we saw downstairs. Carpet, paint, basic issues. I'm not seeing any settling cracks yet, which is good. You're probably going to want to replace the doors too. Here's one of the bathrooms. Hopefully you guys can see this because I did get the new flashlight here. And this is black. They painted the bathroom black and pink. Now that's a color combination I've never seen in 22 years. But yeah, we're black and pink in the bathroom. Huh. The flooring down here is vinyl. So it looks to be in decent shape. You don't have to replace that unless you wanted to. There's a little coat closet. Not coat closet, but just a storage closet. Here's another secondary bedroom. I guess over there they didn't take the pictures down when they painted. They just painted around it. We're missing a light fixture. Again, they couldn't decide on paint colors, so we have green, pink, blue, and purple. Used carpet, it's not really it's not horrible, but it is stained and it is, needs to be replaced. But let's go see the next bedroom, maybe see what colors they got in there. I should start a poll, see what we run into here. All right, going over here to the right. Here's the black, here's the bedroom again, or the bathroom. We got the black and pink. Come on. Come on, light, flashlight. I have to charge my flashlight now. There we go. Got some color in there. Black wall pink. They didn't paint the trim. Kept the trim white. So yeah, you're going to have to repaint all this. And the bad thing about having dark paint colors is you're going to have to prime that a couple of times. And that's just going to be more work. I guess they ran out of paint here in the primary. They only painted one wall. But they did put glitter on it. I don't know if y'all can see this. They got all the sparkles in here. My wife would be really excited. She's watching all of Twilight right now, which, by the way, is the most ridiculous movie ever. The CGI is downright horrific, but the sparkles makes me think of the vampires. We do have a crack right here, and it looks like that may be a leak. Not sure. It's pretty small. Here's our primary bath. Oh boy, they had fun with this wall. Somebody watched too many HGTV shows. I mean, it's not a bad job, but those aren't good colors. Got this wall painted up again. Let's see what we got in here. That's all stuck. That needs a good cleaning / replacement. You got a basic tub in here. Basic vanity, 2-person vanity. Here's a toilet, and then in here, you've got your walk-in closet. So pretty good size for the walk-in closet. No, I didn't see any ceiling fans. Do we have any ceiling fans? Oh, yep, this one had a ceiling fan. I don't think any of the other bedrooms did. I don't know what this is for. They put some sealant. I guess when your kids are screaming too loud, you just don't want to hear it anymore. You just put that on your door. I don't know. There's not a ceiling fan there. Let's see what we got here. Here's the furnace. Not sure what year we got for construction here. Yeah, we'd have to look that one up. So let's go on downstairs, walk on the back, and see what we see. right, here's the backyard. And yeah, the people that were waiting outside, it looks like it's another agent. They're wanting to come on in. Good sized backyard. Wood fence, 6 feet high. Decent back patio. And you can see all the exterior siding's in pretty good shape. The screens are old, probably need to be replaced. Let's walk on over here to the garage. And oh, this is interesting. Never seen this before. Looks like somebody tried to seal that. So and here we got the garage. Here's the hot water heater. Yeah, this was built in 2005, so that's got to be replaced. Make sure I don't step on anything. Sprinkler system. And we got the garage door opener in there. So that's it. Let's go on back to the office. Let's see if this is a good deal or not. All right, guys, we're back in the office here. We're going to take a look at 1846 Sierra Trail that we just walked through. Again, keep in mind, that house, we didn't see anything major wrong with it. We did need to do a lot of carpet, paint, light fixtures, doors, so basic cosmetics. When we do our estimates for everything, when I'm doing that per square foot estimate, if you've seen on prior videos, usually $35 to $45 a square foot if you're doing a full-on remodel. I'm going to do this one about half of that because I don't think there's major issues in that home, but you can easily find things to fill that money up with. So let's take a quick look at this house. Just as a quick reminder, here we are. List price is $254,400, 2,400 square foot home built in 2005, and we are in the Bear Creek Ranch subdivision. Now we're going to also look at obviously whether we can rent this house or not. I can't remember correctly on Bear Creek Ranch, but watch out on some of these properties. Actually, it's not going to be on this one because they're saying there's no HOA, but I thought there was an HOA on it. But watch out on some of these homes with the HOAs. They're doing what I call a soft cap, okay, or a soft rental restriction. Basically, they're saying if you buy a house in the community, you can't lease it for 12 or 24 months, which if you're buying strictly as an investment property, that kind of takes away that community for you to invest in, unless you want to live there for a year or two. Some of them are also enforcing caps on the number of rentals they can have in the community. A famous one like this is Travis Ranch out in Forney. They had a 20% rental cap that they didn't enforce for years. Then all of a sudden they enforced it, found out that rentals in the community were about 30 to 40%, and they forced all those funds and investors to sell to get down to 20%. Really killed the market values in that community, and it's kind of hurt that area because the market got flooded with homes that it really didn't have the buyers for. So just be careful with some of that stuff. Obviously, if you can get a newer community like this that doesn't have an HOA, that's kind of a priority. So let's look at this real quick. I'll close that out. Showing you here. Let me see. We've got it. Yep, there we go. So here's all our information on the property. If you've seen this spreadsheet, this is what I call my chat investor calculator. It's an Excel spreadsheet, kind of just to check on things. I did the ARV. We'll go over that in a second. Here's the purchase price. I put it at the list price. I did $17.50 per foot. It kind of gives you a $42, budget there. I think that should cover it. You're talking about carpet, paint, some doors, a hot water heater. Remember that was a 2005 hot water heater. That was the original one, and some light fixtures. So, that should easily cover all of that. And even if you guys want to go put the light fixtures in yourselves, I would recommend that because you're going to end up paying more than double the cost of the fixture if you can get that done easily. We'll go over the rent here in a second. We had it at $2,300. And here's the one thing about Lancaster. Lancaster has a high tax rate. So that house right now, the unexempt taxes, which is what you would be paying, $8,700. So let's go look at our comps real quick. Here's our, let me see, this should be the sales comps. Yep, sales comps last 6 months. And let's see what we got here. Now, I'll stick my little, there we go. Clear that out. So you can see right here, here's our house, right through there. One of these days I'm gonna figure out how to get that nice and straight. So there's our home. What you can see over here, this column right here is owner name. Okay, and I put that out there kind of see what, kind of see who the sellers of these properties here. This is an owner-occupant, that's a personal name. You can tell right here, that's a financial company. So, that's the house we looked at, bank-owned property. But here's the ones that are interesting. D.R. Horton, D.R. Horton, D.R. Horton, D.R. Horton, D.R. Horton. So what that's telling me, a lot of the homes, look at all these D.R. Hortons. It's the builder homes that are selling. So our market value for resale and demand for resale is much, much lower. You do have, an open door property, which they don't usually do anything to their homes. That's a fix and flipper. Here we have an estate sale. So, it's interesting information that gets pulled up. But what I'm looking at is I'm kind of looking at this property, that fix and flipper. He's a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,334 square feet. He's at $335. I'm also going down here and I'm looking at, this home. That's a new construction, sold for $350. Kind of similar. I mean, we're not too far off there. They have an extra half bathroom. So I'm thinking probably about $25,000 less than that, due to the fact that that's a brand new house, is kind of where our value would be. Believe it or not, there is a discount for resale properties versus builders. So that's why when I go over here, I put the estimated value. We can do it at $325. Kind of see what this does. All right. So there's that. Let's go back to our rental comps. Now here's the thing that is concerning. This is the last 6 months of rental comps. I've only got 2 leases. 1, 2 in the last 6 months. Let's go back. Let's see if we can find maybe the last year. So 0 to 360 days, and it's in this subdivision. Yeah, we got a few more. We got 8 now, but still, that's concerning. That's telling me there's not a lot of demand for rentals in this community. And we don't see anything this big. And we are seeing the values drop. Look at all the bigger ones. The higher lease amounts were all 2024. 2025 are coming in lower. So that's another thing to be aware of. I think based on this, we could probably look at 22 to 2,300 on rental rates. Again, it looks like, and this is the market in general right now, rental rates are going down, property values are going down. That's something just to be very aware of. So if we go back over to let's close this out, go back over to our calculator. Again, here I did the calculations for taxes and everything. This is how it breaks down. So that community has a 2.6775% tax rate. So you take that number times the tax assessed value, which was $324,940, that will give you your actual taxes. So that's how you do that. So here again, if you've seen this, you kind of know what we're looking at. Here's our acquisition costs. This is assuming that it's a cash purchase. So if you're going to do a finance, a hard money type loan or another loan, this is going to change a little bit, and we can customize this for you. But this is just assuming cash because we're looking at this really quick and dirty to see if this is even something we want to look at. So we got our purchase price right here. We got our remodel costs, got a bit of a credit in there for taxes. I'm assuming, 6 months. This is based on a fix and flip. So anyways, our total cost about $298,707. So if we were going to sell this at $325, once again, assuming that we held it for 6 months, we would kind of look to break even. Again, make about $6,000 to $7,000. It's really not worth it to me. That's a lot of work for that.
And keep in mind, this is if it's cash. This is if it's cash only. And keep in mind, it's if the market doesn't keep going down over 6 months. We're having a really hard time with interest rates, with taxes, and the one thing that people don't recognize and realize is insurance costs are going through the roof. So you're gonna have to be aware of these things if you're gonna be investing. So I would pass on this one as a fix and flip. Now, if it's a rental, say we rent it out for $2,300, you'd have a little bit of a profit if you put your loan at 50% of, you could refinance at 50% of the amount of money that you put into it, which is, I put on here, your purchase price plus your rehab costs. So that's a little bit under 150, and I have the interest rate at 8%. And again, that's who knows what the interest rates are going to be next week. They're all over the place right now. So if you can lock something in that's lower than that, do that. But even with that, we're looking at, rental profit of $113 a month. So, this is one that you might want to get a little creative with. You can we can go to those websites, check out Airbnb type deals, short-term rentals, pad split where you can, and this might be a good property for that, honestly, because if you remember, that's a very boxy modular design and all the bedrooms are upstairs. So you can lease out the individual bedrooms and probably get a little bit more than this. You got 4 bedrooms, lease it out for $700 each a month. You're looking at $2,800 there. Now you're looking at a profit of, $612 a month. So, definitely is some potential in here. I think if you're going to be an owner-occupant, this is definitely a home that I would look at and take a closer look at. You don't have any major issues like what we didn't. There was a possible roof leak in one of the bedrooms, but if it was really, really small. It didn't appear to really be major foundation issues. You want to get that hot water heater checked out, and the HVAC system looked to be a little bit newer. So if you're an owner-occupant, man, check this neighborhood out. Check this home out. If you're an investor, gonna have to get a little creative, but you can definitely make some money on this house.
Well, hey guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tour today. I hope you got some good tidbits on this home and some background information here on Lancaster and what you can do with the property. Again, if you have any questions on anything, whether it be this house or another property, my contact information is below. Please feel free to reach out and contact me. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. We check out properties once a week. And also we put out Touring Tuesday videos of new homes, things like that. Yeah, you got to watch out here. There's an airport like right over that way. The Lancaster airport. People don't realize that's here. But yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Don't miss any of our future videos. And until next week, you guys have a good one. We'll see you then. Bye.